Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 461.
461.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Disney100 just kicked off at Disneyland last week on the 27th of January. And also the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival starts March 1st. And the grand finale of the Disneyland Paris 30th anniversary is also now in effect. So you have to go to MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, right?
There's so much going on. We need to as well.
Yes. So check them out and get a no obligation quote at their site.
So we're looking at some footage, some B-roll footage from Disneyland, from the Disney100 celebration. We just returned. We had a glorious 8 days out there with a bonus day.
Well, we originally were going to do 6 nights, and then we ended up doing the media event for a couple of days, and then
we had to extend on the beginning and the end. What a shame. It was wonderful.
So we had a really great time. It all started with a mouse. Not quite the quote, right?
Not quite the quote, but I think things are being
hopefully
resolved there. But I love all we're looking at some of this decor here, and everything looks great. I really enjoy this festival, this celebration, more than I thought I would.
I had a great time. There's actually a lot to see. I'm just writing an article about it. This is the Opera House, the gallery.
I remember that witch that used to be in a little shop at Disneyland, right?
And there's so much to see here just in this one exhibit. But now we're looking at merchandise in the display windows. A lot of this you can find on Shop Disney or at like Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris. And I have not seen this footage before. So now we're in Disney California Adventure.
And a lot of this is just an overview of the decor. Again, we did see some merchandise before. You see a lot of this Disney100, these logos, these coins around.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Yes, it feels like downtown Disney.
Remember we saw the Oswald back there?
And I like the Oswald. And here is, this was by what used to be the ESPN zone, and it's now like Wondergrounds over there. So now we're walking into Mickey's Toontown. There's a new sign. So Mickey's Toontown's not yet open. Mickey's Toontown will open on March 8th. However, it is partly open for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and you can kind of walk around. There's a little bit of greenery and such, and it's really nice to be back in Toontown after it's been closed a year.
Look how beautiful. I mean, it's so vibrant, so colorful. Everything has been painted and refreshed. This was some footage. And the very first thing we did on the first day of the media event is we went to see Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But while we were there, we were able to kind of walk around and look at Mickey's Toontown and without a big crowd in there. So it was kind of nice. This grass here ended up being one of our favorite areas to just relax.
And it was very popular. However, there's no more Roger Rabbit fountain over here. That's gone, unfortunately. There is, and I did spend a fair bit of time in the grass, working and stuff. You know, I didn't know what to expect with Mickey's Toontown fully, and it was nice that you could still open things and they make sounds, so like gags and such. But most of Toontown not yet reopened, but it was nice to see what was.
Right, what we saw was very impressive. And speaking of looking at the gags and going in things, we're going to take a look in the post office in a moment. And again, all the little sounds and things that you love are still there in full force, actually.
And I thought that was really, really great. And we're just looking. You went through the post office with a video camera, and on the second when you were filming in the queue.
Goofy's is upside down, by the way. I thought that was quite funny. Right next to Jessica and Donald.
I hadn't even noticed that. So there's a lot of little references here.
Yes, so much.
And I was just mentioning that I went looking for you in that post office when you were in the queue for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Is that you thought I was in the post office?
I thought you were in the post office, but instead he was getting this really great video of the queue with like nobody in it.
Right. Well, you don't turn down an opportunity like that.
That was my second choice. First I thought post office, second I thought you must be in the queue. But anyway, there's a lot of great references, and here is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in the El Capitan Theater. This is a fantastic marquee, a fantastic attraction. It's very similar to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, but the queue is fantastic. I called it extravagant.
It really is, and we're about to take a look at some of the highlights of the queue. But first, we'll kind of finish off our little tour here. There is where the souvenir shop will eventually be. It wasn't quite opened throughout our trip. Even when we left, it still wasn't quite opened. And you could see more going on. And you'll see behind one of the walls, they're still working on Goofy's house. That is about to come into frame.
And there's still so much that's going to open. You'll have Mickey and Minnie's house back. I don't know if they'll be different. You've got Donald's boat. And then, there's just so much still to see.
Yeah, and of course, Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin also we saw will be reopening.
2 great attractions in the land. So we are looking at Ken Potrock, who is the Disneyland president. This was really fun, the way they did the film
clip, yeah.
Yes, with the scissors and everything. For the opening, we happened to be invited for this. So we were among a very small group who were able to watch the dedication, and I thought that was really, really nice.
Yeah, that was one of the nicer ribbon cuttings we've seen, and of course, Mickey and Minnie in attendance. So great way to start it off. Now we'll talk about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland, and we're looking at the queue. Here we go.
And the queue has, a lot of movie posters, but also this incredible Mickey Through the Ears exhibit. Right here you have like Plain Crazy, and we also see, we just saw Steamboat Willie wheel.
Yeah, and which actually turns, by the way.
Oh,
remember
yes,
I turned
I remember.
that,
I
yes.
did turn it as well. And we're coming up here on Fantasia. You see Sorcerer Mickey, and his hat moves up every so often. It's like every 2 or 3 minutes or something. So you could totally miss this while you're in the queue. You'll see it sort of making sounds and a little bit of light.
And the same here. I mean, with the Lonesome Ghost mirror here, it's just so cool. I remember as a little kid, I had one of these little toys that you crank and you could watch Lonesome Ghost. Do you remember those? Fisher Price, I think it was.
Oh, which thing is it?
Yeah, you look through it and you turn it, and it's a movie that you look through and see it with your eyes. Do you remember that?
I don't know if I had that. I had a Viewmaster.
Similar. But what an awesome effect this is. And it only happens every few minutes. So sometimes you get a little bit of a line, people that know about it waiting to see the Lonesome Ghost.
And you won't see all of those scenes
Right. That was a composite of many trips to the line there.
I've been through many times, and I haven't seen a couple of those. So also there's this concession stand, which is also fantastic. We've been told it is possible that some of these items down here that are like you have power limes,
these are all props right now, but there's a possibility some of this stuff can actually be for sale, right?
So, but we'll see. But just a lot of great references throughout the queue, and also the concession stand.
This concession stand is my favorite element. We start off with the popcorn, and as you move up here, you can see the popcorn is actually popping, and you can smell the popcorn. I mean, I can actually almost smell it watching this. Obviously, this is not real. This is actually a screen, but it looks so convincing, and if you don't really study it, you will think it's actually popcorn that's popping. And
you have this little character here.
Disneyland is famous for
yes,
those.
And so I thought that was really cool. And so free candy, like every 6 Thursday of the month or something, nobody's getting, free candy. So we're just looking chocolate coins from McDuck's, Laugh-O-Grams.
Yeah, I actually would love some of this stuff. I could see why it would be very popular.
And so I just thought Sacco Sugar. I just thought this is fantastic. And every time you go through, you'll see something that you haven't seen before.
This is my favorite part, though, coming up, the condiment stand.
This is your favorite part?
It is, because it's so funny. You see, with the ketchup, you have the ketchup down there, and your cheese, nacho cheese, It's just a lot of puns, a lot of fun jokes, and just, it's so real. Like when you actually go to a stand like this, you do see cups and tops and stuff all over the place like this. It's very very well done.
Right, and the napkins and the everything looks real.
Like somebody had a little accident here with the barbecue sauce, and even
classic smoke tree flavor.
Yeah, like smoke tree ranch, right? So I mean, the more you look at it, the more you study this stuff, the more references you're going to get. You could go there for hours and not see everything. And we have tried, I'll tell you that. And the queue does such an amazing job of setting us up for this. The finale, we're here at the El Capitan Theater to see A Perfect Picnic.
And we're just going to take a few second look here, and then this is where we're going to enter
the film.
To go ride.
We're actually going to go into the movie, which again, such a perfect setup with that cue. It really sets you up for actually going into a Mickey Mouse film, because that's what this whole ride is all about. Here comes the train, and we're about to board, and now we are on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
And we were very fortunate to be able to do this during the media event, and then we went once on our own. It was hard to get for several days.
I think it took
virtual
us
queue.
It was on our fourth try where we were able to, and it was on our extended day.
Right.
So we're very lucky to have been able to get a boarding group.
And much of this is very similar to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disney's Hollywood Studios, but there are a few differences. It is not a carbon copy exactly of the attraction.
Right, because the show building has different dimensions here, so you'll notice some things are in different locations. Now we talked about there is a completely different scene, and this would be that different scene. You're going through a tunnel here, and you have Goofy with some additional dialogue.
And is it supposed to be like a covered bridge?
I think so. It looks like a covered bridge to me. It's covered
We'll
bridge.
call it a tunnel.
A tunnel covered bridge.
And
as you go through the covered bridge at the end, you'll notice Mickey and Minnie and Pluto are on the right rather than on the left, as they would be in Walt Disney World. Plus, they're closer to the vehicle.
And I hadn't even thought about that, but I did notice that they were on a different side. And I just want to mention also, this is either you can do Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland currently with a virtual queue or an individual lightning lane. And it was, as we had mentioned, tough to get for several days.
Except for the last time.
The last
Wednesday
day,
was very
not
easy.
Right. We had a really good day that day, and it was not as busy.
And this will be the gift shop when it is open. Right now they just have curtains, but you could see it's nicely themed, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway goodies like they have here at Walt Disney World.
How can you tell it's nicely themed?
I stopped and looked. No, you could see that there's all
little
bits
of stuff.
I took a look around, and you could kind of see around the curtains.
There's a lot of curtains, so... So here we are walking out into Toontown, and I just think it's incredible. You're gonna have two really great attractions soon here, plus more Mickey and Minnie's houses. There are attractions too, but to have two great rides.
Now, also going on while we are at Disneyland is the Lunar New Year celebration, and this is the I guess it's a cavalcade, not a parade, but a cavalcade.
Well, they call it Mulan's Lunar New Year procession, and this runs through February 15th, as does all of the Lunar New Year celebration. I have wanted to go to the Lunar New Year celebration. For some reason, I'm having problems saying
You've mentioned it a number of years that you really want to check this out in person.
Every time they have it, I'm like, I want to do this. I want to go to Lunar New Year.
This was our first view of Oswald in his Lunar New Year attire.
And we ended up meeting him, which we'll show. And not with Ortensia, but
actually, in our case, they were together at a couple points.
Briefly, not to meet though. And so here is Mulan and Mushu, and of course, since it's Mulan's procession, she would be the one, character who would be here every year. I'm not sure.
I know Mushu has also been here in previous years.
But in a sense, Mulan is guaranteed because it's her
celebration.
Yes. And so you have Goofy, and in the past, I believe they've had like the three little pigs.
Yes, they did, but not this year. But you're right. In the past, they have had those. There is a Tick and Tack.
Yeah, Chip and Dale, Tick and Tack. If you are in France, Tick a Tack.
Oh, Tick a Tack. Tick at Tack.
And I thought the costumes here were gorgeous on the performers. Really lovely.
And I want to shout out to Mr. Daps for giving us this wonderful suggestion of a location here. Perfect. And we even had a seat. How great is that?
So the procession runs from Pixar Pier to Hollywoodland. So I think it used to run from here to there, and guests tend to go there to Pixar Pier. More, I think, than here.
Well, at one time there was like a show stop where it actually stopped and performed. That was in previous years, because we have a version of that on the channel, thanks to our associate out in California, who is very private, so we can't say his name. But thanks to him. And also we have Pluto here, who I've not seen before in this special outfit.
And I guess he just walks around, because we never saw him actually doing a meet and greet.
Right.
He just sort of
He's
was
roaming. He's a
roaming character.
Roaming dog.
Yes. And here we have the year of the rabbit and the year of the cat. I believe that's a Vietnamese year of.
Did you see he just did the bunny hop for us there?
I see that.
Perfect for Oswald.
And Oswald, unfortunately, was the only character that I personally ended up meeting. I did see, everybody else, I believe, at one time or another.
You could have met Ortensia, but you chose to eat at the new Earl of Sandwich, which was reopening. So you could have done it.
No, I took a nap really on the day that you were doing all of this.
True.
So I was so tired after several days, so I took a little nap. But anyway, here is Oswald, and look at the costumes that they make for the different characters. Are stunning, really beautiful.
I would go to this festival again. I loved it. It was it was better than even I expected. And here's Ortensia with also a nice matching outfit.
So Oswald has been at Disney California Adventure before. It's been a few years. There's me. And
we've met him a number of times.
We've met him many times, yes, but not for like a few years regularly. And Ortensia, we have met her in Disneyland Paris on 2 different occasions, Fan Days and
the Jazz Night.
Yes. But this is her domestic debut, was at Disney California Adventure for Lunar New Year.
Plus, it's a unique outfit. You'll probably only see this. I'm sure you'll only see this at this event.
Of course. I mean, this is created for the Lunar New Year. I would love to see us here at Epcot have a similar event.
I'm surprised. I don't understand why this is something that isn't celebrated in Florida.
We should have different, the different countries have different holidays, so it would be wonderful to have something like this happen.
Even Mickey and Minnie are getting in on the act. Look at this. They're so proud to show us their nice outfits, very colorful.
And I actually would have liked to have met Mickey and Minnie. If we had time on the last day, I would have gone over and seen them. But yeah, the outfits there are really gorgeous.
And it's not that difficult to see them all. You meet them and then you get back in line. And by the time you get up, most likely it is a different character. And if not, you can let people go by.
It depends on how many guests are in line. Also, like sometimes the guests, there weren't so many of them.
Right.
But sometimes the line got really long.
And we have Mulan and Mushu here, and that they were absolutely fantastic. So much fun and very playful. Great interactions with these guys.
And you don't see Mushu too often in the parks. So, and with Mulan, how often do you see Mushu with Mulan?
And you'll never let me forget the time we waited for multiple hours at Epcot for Mushu. Was it just Mushu? Mulan. I think it may have been just Mushu.
I don't wait anymore 3 hours for characters.
I don't either.
That was a lot.
This was delightful. This was maybe a 15-minute wait. Again, I did all of them in order. Boom, 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 boom.
And here you just asked if you could take some photos or something,
Yeah, I
right?
said, show me some of your best poses. And
they did so good.
Yeah, they're just fantastic. Lunar New Year did not disappoint.
They were really nice to do the different poses.
So World of Color 1. This was the debut of World of Color 1.
And we saw Disneyland President Ken Potrock at many places. He introduced pretty much everything new for Disney100.
We even had a chance to chat with him at a little event before this started. He was so nice in person, very personable.
Really nice guy. So anyway, World of Color 1 debuted also on January 27th. And that is the newest World of Color. World of Color has been around forever. So there's a new song called Start a Wave, which is about how an action like a drop of water can make an impact, like Walt Disney made an impact.
I love the song. It's a great song.
And honestly, I was in such a place where I couldn't really see much. Plus, it was very windy. So
it was very windy the night we saw it. This was B-roll from a different night, and this is much better viewing than what we had because of the wind situation. You could still see a lot of this, but it wasn't as clear as this footage here.
And we never went back to watch it, which I sort of wish we did, but it's hard because it's at like 9:30, and I know it sounds not that late, but I'm an early riser.
We're always up. We usually get to the park at the opening of it. So by the time and it's difficult because you also have the fireworks and you have to get a fast pass or doing a dining package. So.
Like when we did Wondrous Journeys, we did that at 7:30. The one night we did it on our own. when they did have it because of a private event happening later.
And there was threatening weather also, so we weren't sure. So, I do wish we will go back to Disneyland and see it again.
And we'll do night times.
Oh, and we mentioned wind. This is the night. Look at Chip and Dale here.
Tick-a-tack.
They are. Look at the wind. I mean, they're even doing wind motions here because it was so windy.
And this was when we watched it was a media preview, but it really was probably more cast members, like a cast member preview. And then we had
it was a mixture
section
of
as
cast
well.
and media. You're right. Way more cast.
Right. And so this was really nice. And I totally forgot about, I took some video as well, that they were there on the way out. And that was really nice.
Donald was really into it, though. He saw me recording, and he was really playing to the camera. They all were fantastic. One thing about Disneyland is the characters are always amazing there, and they're not hard to experience. It's not like they're big long waits like we sometimes have here at Walt Disney World.
I will say that the character, like if you like characters, Disneyland and Disneyland Paris are top notch. To me, they're sort of on the same level.
So they also have a new monorail wrap, and we're about to see it. It's an iridescent Disney100 monorail wrap, and if you look in the water, you can actually see the colors shimmering off of the iridescence of the monorail.
And this is monorail blue, but with the wrap on it. And you have all the Disney VIP characters like Mickey and Minnie and Chip and Dale. So it's really a beautiful wrap, and I love kind of looking at it and photographing it from different areas.
Yeah, and you can see Chip and Dale are a little small, so they're kind of hard to spot. But all the other characters, the characters that are on it, as you mentioned, they're the same ones that actually meet with those outfits.
Right.
So later on, when we watch the character march, you're going to see all the characters from the monorail
with the Disneyland band,
Disney100. Yeah.
So right, all of the VIP characters. You've got Mickey, Minnie, Donald. Daisy is Daisy on there, and Chip and Dale and such, and Pluto, Goofy, all on the monorail, and also all on. You'll see them in the park.
I really enjoyed this. It looks like we did a lot of monorail hunting, but it wasn't very hard. I mean, the monorail goes by every 15 minutes. They had two running. They had the Mickey one, and then they had this one. I know they're working on getting the other monorail out very soon.
I did not hear that.
And here we are. We're looking at nighttime. We wanted to see what it looked like at night, and you could see the iridescent kind of shimmering, and even the water effect works. And then we're going to see one more pass.
And especially in Submarine Lagoon here, I think this and near the Matterhorn were my favorite places to see it from.
Right. And we even discovered some other nice places. I would actually like to see the Disneyland monorail have that undercolor like the Epcot. I guess the whole Walt Disney World monorail line at night has the undercolor. Right.
Yeah.
So this is monorail blue. It'd be nice to have that blue kind of lighting up the track. So something to think about, Disneyland.
Maybe sometime. But what? We should have a wrap that's so beautiful.
Yeah. We had the Toronto Rail. Remember the Toronto Rail?
That was like 10 years ago.
That's true.
So here is the Disneyland band. This is before they do the March Down Main Street. Sometimes they have sets where they come out and they play, and there's no Disney characters, but like once a day, the Disney characters are here.
Right. This is 11:45. I guess they call it the Disneyland Band March, and they're going to march down Main Street with the characters to the train station where they're going to perform again. And we're going to show highlights of that. This was absolutely a highlight. I think I watched it 3 times. It's the band is wonderful, wonderful. I like that they play a lot of great Disney songs, including the new song.
It's Wondrous is the new song that goes with Wondrous Journeys, but it's also played all over. You can hear it all over Disneyland now. And here are the characters coming through the castle. You got Donald and Chip and Dale and Mickey and Minnie, and is that it?
You mentioned It's Wondrous. That song, all the music for this celebration, I would say, is Disneyland Paris quality. I know you've said that in the past, but I really agree with that.
In the past, meaning in the last week or so?
No, you said it when we were there. You said, this music is so good, and it really is.
It's like Disneyland Paris, because Disneyland Paris has really excelled at their 30th anniversary music, and really all along they've had incredible songs. And so I think It's Wondrous and Start a Wave are on that level.
Now, this is how I get my exercise. I record the beginning, and then I quickly walk at a brisk pace down Main Street and line up here in front of the train station for part 2 of the march.
And I think we waited for about 15 minutes in front of the castle, and there was plenty of room at that time.
Right.
It's when everybody starts coming out, the band and the characters, that really you get that big crowd.
And again, if you are there for a number of days, I would break it up and just kind of wait 10 minutes at this location for part 2 and then wait in front of the train station. This way you don't have to kind of rush and run. You could just be relaxed. And that's what we did. This was from a different day. You can notice it's a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
I mean, we still, you can make it.
Yes.
But, it's a better
Walking
view.
fast.
You can get your perfect view by
Yeah.
and it's worth it because it's a great presentation. You have the Dapper Dans, you have the characters, the Disneyland band, and the whole thing. This whole little segment here is only about 7 minutes. So it's quick, but
it is quick.
It's great. You put it all together and you have about 15 minutes of entertainment.
And it's really enjoyable, and it would be easy to miss on a day at Disneyland because you could be, in the park and riding rides, and this is going on, while you're doing that.
It's just one of those charming Disneyland special things that happens that I like so much.
And there's a lot of things like that, that are special to Disneyland.
But also not a lot of stress to see, fairly easy. Also, they have a Disney 100 cavalcade that we saw a number of times.
And this is the Mickey and Friends Cavalcade, which is, again, also not new. It's something that has been running for quite some time. But it is, dressed up for the Disney 100. You can see the costumes or, on the performers, as well as the characters have flags. And then at the end, you see Mickey and Minnie and the VIPs in their Disney 100 costumes as well.
Yeah, it's really great. I enjoyed this. It's a quick, fun cavalcade with a lot of great characters, and it was very nice and also easy to see.
And I hope that this will continue. And they were only showing it one time per day.
2:00 when we were there.
The Mickey and Friends Cavalcade prior to that, at least when we have been here, has been 2 times a day. I am hoping that they will keep the 1 time a day, that they'll keep it during Magic Happens, which returns this month, I believe February 24th. Magic Happens has not been running in several years. It was only around for 2 weeks, and I'm really looking forward to that returning.
So this little part here reminds me of, again, of Disneyland Paris, because what we typically will do in Paris is after a cavalcade or a parade goes by, we'll follow it to the door, and at the end, all the characters and the performers will turn and wave goodbye. Especially Dream and Shine Brighter, we used to do that a lot. So this kind of took me back to that. I like how the characters are all kind of waving as the door closes. That's one of my favorite parts.
And we see it also at Walt Disney World a little bit, but we don't really follow
and the guests
them.
and the guests and cast were cheering. I mean, they were into it,
So we're now going to see Wondrous Journeys and talk a little bit about that, but I have an interview first with Roger Gould about the show.
I'm Roger Gould, creative director of our creative legacy team at Walt Disney Animation Studios, and I had the joy of collaborating with Disney Live Entertainment to bring Wondrous Journeys to life here for the celebration of 100 years of our studio.
And can you tell us about Wondrous Journeys?
Wow. It's literally a celebration of 100 years of Walt Disney Animation Studios, right? We're celebrating 100 years of the company, but it all began with Walt and Roy up in LA on Kingswell creating animation. And so for us, it's this incredible moment that we're celebrating the entire pantheon of all of our films in one fell swoop and welcoming our guests to be part of that celebration.
And how did you decide, okay, we're going to do all of them?
When we started, we actually put together what we called an animation trust, a group of filmmakers, directors, animators, designers up at the studio, and we all got together and we just talked about, okay, what's the movie that struck your heart and said, I have to do this? Or is there one scene that you would just have to include? What's the gem to you? Or what's that one line of dialogue that just hits you right in the heart? And so we really just started curating all of those, and we realized we had to somehow celebrate every one of the films, but there is a through line. There are certain films that we're focusing on more, but I think you're going to find that whatever is your favorite film, you're going to find that connection, and that's what's fun. I mean, from Snow White to Moana to Mirabelle, and everything in between, it was really exciting to just literally sift through the entire catalog and go, how do we do this 100 years in one show?
And everybody's going to find some, a scene that they connect to, right?
Gosh, yeah. What's so amazing and wonderful to me is that people have such a strong emotional connection with these characters in films, right? And so every film is somebody's favorite film. So whether it's, seeing Hercules up there, or seeing, Aurora, or seeing a moment from Treasure Planet, or even if you're on Main Street, you may get a peek of Meet the Robinsons, right? All these films, for someone, that's the film that really spoke to them. And so I think it's going to be really fun for our guests to watch it on the Castle, on Main Street, over on It's a Small World, over at Rivers of America. It's kind of like you're gonna have to collect them all by going everywhere.
And what's your favorite place to watch from?
Jordan Peterson, the creative director on the live entertainment side, this morning I was challenging him, where are you going to stand tonight? Because actually each spot is fun and interesting in its own way. Last night I watched it again from the Castle. Tonight I think I would go for Main Street, but they're all good and they're all a little different. So I think you're going to have to come again and again.
And what would you want guests to kind of take away from the experience?
We really tried to tell, it's not a chronology or kind of a history lesson about Disney animation. Disney animation is really about emotion, and we wanted this to be also about the artist's journey of starting with just a rough idea, and you see the show begins literally with pencil animation and concept sketches, and that journey of discovery, of finding these characters, of going on that journey, finding struggle and self-doubt, and then triumph. And so we want our audience to go on that journey with us as well, with these characters from, again, from Judy Hopps to Belle to Quasimodo, these characters that have gone on those journeys with them. And I think people will be excited. It's spectacular and beautiful, but I hope we really also touch people's hearts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah,
we can't wait.
Yeah.
So Wondrous Journeys did not disappoint. One of my favorite Disneyland fireworks shows I've seen ever. It was wonderful. And I just have to mention, certain times of the week, there's no fireworks. It's just the projection show. In this case, that's okay because you still have, like in this, you have
Blue Fairy.
The Blue Fairy.
And Baymax was supposed to fly on this
Baymax would
night as
normally
well.
fly. I think it was because of wind that he didn't. But usually, so you'll still get the Blue Fairy and Baymax, but you can really concentrate on all the great animations wherever it is that you're watching it from.
And you'll probably have fewer guests watching. And I think it's generally, and I don't know about the summer, but right now on weekends is when you have the fireworks, depending on wind. There's always wind issues, or often wind issues at Disneyland.
And there is Baymax. That is spectacular. That is during the first showing with fireworks. So really, I would take every opportunity to see this show from all the locations as he mentioned.
But we watched the fireworks
from our room. We had a great view from our room. We're very lucky.
So and like the Friday night was very, very busy, opening night. So we went back to the room and watched there. But during the media event, we were on Main Street. You can see that there's projections here on Main Street. And I really enjoyed watching those because I'm short and I couldn't really see the castle as well unless I had my hand up really high. But it was wonderful to see all, the fireworks. And again, the projections as well.
But the day that we saw just the projections, you were able to get like third row from the castle. So
that was great.
That was amazing to see all that detail. So anyway, Disney100, Disneyland, what a great celebration. It exceeded all of my expectations. I can't wait to go back to see Magic Happens and to see some of the other elements that will be introduced later on.
This was a fantastic Disneyland trip. I cannot wait for Toontown to open.
That's
and also
right.
Magic Happens return, because I did see Magic Happens like 4 times during my trip in March 2020. It was only around for maybe 2 weeks or less. And it is a great parade with great music. Again, remember when I said about the Disneyland Paris, or you actually said earlier, quality, like the song Magic Happens is terrific. And you can hear it in the Esplanade along with a lot of other music right now.
As you're saying it, I'm singing it in my head and loving it.
Happens.
Oh, Denise is even singing. A rarity.
I just, the parade was really fun. I don't usually go to see parades that often, and with Magic Happens, I did.
We will make every effort to get back before the summer busy season
And I don't want to
starts.
say I don't see the Disneyland Paris parades because they're in so many areas like Central Plaza. I'll see more often,
right.
but a straight parade that doesn't stop, no show stops and such, I don't usually see more than like once or twice. And Magic Happens, I was only there like 5 days, so I saw it a lot.
And we want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Book that trip to Disneyland.
Yeah, book the trip to Disneyland. We really recommend it. I think their Food and Wine Festival at Disney California Adventure is coming up. There's, while you have all these wonderful Disney 100 elements, you also have, other things like Lunar New Year through the 15th of February. You have the Food and Wine Festival coming up. So you'll still have Halloween and Christmas. I don't know how that will affect, the cavalcades and such.
I have a feeling we'll make it back for Halloween also, because we just love the Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yes, I do think we'll be there. Yep.
So this week, what do we have coming up?
Well,
we don't know what we have coming
no
up.
idea.
We will see what the week brings.
Yes, and I'll be going to the parks on my own tomorrow, probably Epcot, and we'll see.
And maybe next week we'll talk a little bit about Knott's Berry Farm Peanuts Festival, which we also covered. So we still have that to talk about, which was a very nice event.
Mm-hmm. And we still have a lot to talk about.
So thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.